Heavyweight boxing fans, what's the deal? Let me give a shout out to Dave Champion. He made some very good points in his video. I didn't agree with everything he said in that video, but he did make some really good points and some things that I want to touch on and give my opinion on about this whole Deontay Wilder situation with Povetkin. Now, first, let me talk about the Povetkin situation, all right? I'm past everything with Povetkin until, I see the WBC and everything. We're going to have a ruling on this Povetkin situation in a few weeks, in the next couple weeks or so. So we'll get to know more about what's going to happen for certain. So it was reported by ESPN, all right? Dan Raphael, ESPN, and some other websites and news outlets that Povetkin test came back positive for meldonium. The fight was off, and then his B sample came back, and then now they're saying that on May 10th and May 17th he had clean tests. Okay, cool. I'm over that shit. All right. If him and Povetkin, now let's move on. Now, if him and Povetkin fight, let's say a ruling comes about that they're going to still have them fight in before year's end or so, cool. That's fine. But I would like Deontay Wilder to not wait till year's end, because I still consider Povetkin a top 5 heavyweight. He isn't the only guy that has failed a test that I have in my overall top 10. There's other guys in my top 10 that have failed tests, and I have them there. But we'll see what the ruling is going to be with Povetkin. But with Deontay Wilder, and I'm a fan of Deontay Wilder. And for those of you that think, oh, you're hating on Deontay Wilder, type in Deontay Wilder, Mr. Boxing today too, and look at all the positive videos I've done. If you can accept criticism of your favorite fighters, or it's going to, really hurt inside your chest and you're going to get all wound up about it, then just turn the video off. But it's just some slight criticism a little bit. With the passing of Ali, I've heard all these fighters come out and show their respects, and that's great. And I've heard a lot of guys say that, I'm going to do it how Ali did it, or, okay, well, if you're going to do how Ali did it, you can't fight Chris Arreola, man. You can't. For those you're going to say, oh, it's just a short notice fight, he should be able to know. But then this would be 4 voluntary defenses, and not one guy is a top 10 overall heavyweight. I'm not talking about the WBC rankings top 15. I'm talking about a top 10. When you combine all the heavyweights together, regardless of sanctioning body, and you put a top 10 together, Johann Duhaupas is not going to be in a lot of people's top 10. Molina, I like him. Good, strong right hand. He's not going to be in everybody's top 10. So is Duhaupas. He just beat Robert Helenius in an upset. So, again, I respect him. Arthur Spilka, I respect him. I respect all of those guys. All of those guys, in my opinion, are top 25-ish, top 30-ish type guys. Still solid, still formidable, but they're not the top 10 type of guys, in my opinion, in my top 10 list. No disrespect to none of those guys. I've done videos on all of them in positive lights. If you don't believe me, type Mr. Boxing Today 2 in and all those 3 guys I just named, and you will see I've done a lot of videos on the whole division. I got the division on lock, all right? So I know about all these guys. But what I'm saying is, what I do know is Deontay Wilder hasn't fought a top 10 guy yet. Now, we can argue that him and Povetkin were both kind of playing ring around the rosy with this scheduling after Wilder won the title against Stavern. Some of you may disagree and say, nope, it was all Wilder's fault. Some of you may disagree and say, oh, it was all Povetkin's fault. I don't give a fuck who fault it was at this point, because I want to see Deontay Wilder, because I believe he's so talented. There's so much there. I want to see him call out Luis Ortiz. Before you guys say, oh, nope, that fight doesn't make sense. Well, why doesn't it make sense? Because out of the 3 names that Deontay Wilder team has brought up as far as this opponent for next month that they want to fight, I've heard them bring up Stavern. I've heard them bring up, who was the other guy? Stavern, Arreola, and Ustinov. Okay, so if it doesn't make sense to fight Luis Ortiz, why would it make sense to fight Ustinov? Because Ustinov, to be honest with you, truth be told, is in negotiate. Well, he is. I'm not gonna say he's in negotiations, but he is supposed to fight. Luis Ortiz is supposed to fight Ustinov in that WBA tournament. On that side of the bracket, they're supposed to square off. The winner of that is supposed to face Fury or Klitschko. Now, all these guys say, I want to do it how Ali did it. And okay, well, Ali would have just called out Ortiz. He wouldn't say, okay, give me Chris Arreola. He would have called out Ortiz. I truly believe that. I think Deontay Wilder should just call out Luis Ortiz. For those of you going to say it doesn't make sense, low risk, high reward. Man, miss me with all them fucking terms, all right? I don't care about them terms and all that low risk, high reward. Let it simmer, let it build, let it cook, let it... Miss me with those terms, man. Those terms mean absolutely nothing to me. This is the big boy division. Don't give me them little ass welterweight terms and junior mid. Don't give me them terms, man. Big boys up here. I want to talk about the big boys like they're supposed to be talked about. I don't want to hear about letting something build and simmer, man. This would be the 4th voluntary defense he has had against a guy that's not a top 10 overall heavyweight. I'm not saying a formidable. All those guys are formidable. They're good, solid, this good, solid competition. But I want to see a Luis Ortiz. Tyson Fury wins the title against Vladimir. He got tied up with Vladimir because Vladimir had the rematch clause, so he's going right back into the Lions Den against Vladimir to prove himself again. What's the young boy name? AJ, Anthony Joshua. Yes, he did beat Charles Martin. To me, both guys were prospect levels, working their way up. Anthony Joshua beats him. He's making his one voluntary against Dominic Brazil here. But then after that, he's talking about fighting his mandatory. He's talking about fighting Joseph Parker. Parker has a fight coming up with Solomon, Huamano. So he gets past that. He's talking about his getting in there with his mandatory. So I'm going to hold him. I'm going to hold Team Joshua to their word. We'll see what happens with him. But if he starts fighting 3, 4 voluntary defenses against guys that are not top 10 overall heavyweights, I'm going to have a problem with that. That's what I want to see. I want to see Deontay Wilder fight a top 10 guy. So in my personal top 10, I have Kirat Pulov in my personal top 10. He is rated number 3 by the WBC. And I have Luis Ortiz. You can't tell me Luis Ortiz fight doesn't make sense because you're trying to fight his opponent for next month. Ustinov. You guys offered him the fight. Chris Arreola makes no sense, man. That guy's had his chances. He's had his chances, man. Like I said, Arreola, he's had his chances, man. He had a chance against Stavern. He came up short twice against Stavern. One of the times was to set himself up for a shot at the WBC title, and then the next one they fought in a rematch for the vacant. He's came up short. He's had his opportunities, and then he had he failed opportunity against Vitaly Klitschko. So how many opportunities going to keep giving Chris Arreola? Now I'm not saying that a guy just because he's failed a few times doesn't mean that he can't possibly win a title. I mean, look at a guy like what was the guy named? Jair Coetzee. You remember him? He for those of you that don't, he lost to Big John Tate and Mike Weaver, and then he finally was able to come through and he beat Michael Dokes and held on for the title before he losing to Greg Page in the very next fight. But so don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that just because Arreola has failed that he can't win. It's like it's not possible, but I just don't want to see him fight no damn Chris Arreola, and nobody out there should. All this, it'll be a bloodbath, and it'll be okay, cool, but I don't know. I want to see a competitive fight. I want to see him against a top 10 guy that's in my top 10, that's in everybody's consensus top 10. Arreola's in nobody's top 10. Berman Stavern, you could probably argue he may be in some people's bottom half of the top 10. I'd rather see a damn Stavern rematch than him fight Chris Arreola or Ustinov, to tell you the truth, because Ustinov's not in my top 10 either. I was riding with Ustinov a little bit just to give a fresh face so I could see him at least against somebody I've never seen him against before. And I was kind of ruling out Stavern because he's already fought him. So I want to see him against somebody new, a fresh face. So that's why I was rolling with Ustinov. But the more I think about it, Pulev or Ortiz. Jennings, I'll have Jennings in my top. I have to do my rankings, but Jennings is in my low top 10. He's in the lower part of my top 10. So don't get me wrong. There's some guys I wouldn't mind seeing, but you cannot give us Chris Arreola. I'd rather take all those other guys than see you in there with Chris Arreola. Please don't fight Chris Arreola, man. Please don't fight Chris Arreola. And if that's all you can get, I say just sit and wait to see what they're going to do with Povetkin in the next few weeks. But I know that he doesn't want to stay stalemate. He wants to, get more defenses and stay in shape. And I understand that, man. But just all these damn, I'm not saying. I just don't want to see Chris Arreola. That's all I can say, man. I will be very frustrated as a fan if we get to see Chris Arreola and Deontay Wilder. Arreola does not deserve the fight. His last few fights, like I said, on top of all his chances he's had at titles, his last few fights have been very suspect. As far as the decisions, the Kaufman and Cassie fights, I thought he lost both those fights, to be honest with you. You know, so I don't know, man. You guys let me know what you think about this. Like I said, for those of you Deontay Wilder lovers that, and I like Deontay Wilder too, but I'm talking about the fans that just don't like to hear any type of criticism. I mean, I'm asking you, would you want to see him fight another holding a title, fight 4 straight guys that are not in the top 10, not the WBC's top 15, but I mean the overall top 10 of the heavyweight division? I wouldn't want to see that. Not at the big boy division. All them other divisions, I really don't care about none of that. So don't tell me about some dude that's at lightweight right now. I don't care about none of that. I'm talking about the big boy division. This is where the big dogs play. So I want to see another big dog take on another big dog. I want to see him fight Luis Ortiz or Pulev. Then if that don't pan out, then Stavern, Yusinov, just because he never fought on before. But I want to see some top 10 type shit go on. I don't want to see all this other shit, man. Give me David Haye. I'd rather take David Haye or something like that. Give me something like that. But you want to, bring that Ali to the game, then you will call out Luis Ortiz. Just my opinion. At the end of the day, what the hell do I know? I'm just a guy on YouTube, right? I'm out.